A brand new age has begun in Reccembra. Well, not really, but now we'll be covering the fossils from the next period in the planet's natural history, the Ichthyocene, the time of fish! We won't start with exoanimals though. Since our last broadcast covered those things, I suppose it only makes sense to discuss the other organisms which share their habitat when the Moshucene turned to Ichthyocene. And so we're here. This would have been quite the view for anyone who could have come here so long ago. The tall spires of trunk corals, taller than anything else in the deep sea. This is what the arms race between exoanimals and Coralliformes created. Towering structures covered with an impenetrable shell, with minerals and metals infused into it straight from the plumes of the hydrothermal vents. The lower reaches of the trunk corals are covered in many quickly growing branches, which lack a shell and can even be flexible in some species. These branches don't need many nutrients to grow and can easily be replaced when eaten. The much larger shelled branches up above are different, splaying out like an earth tree's crown. It is these branches that do most of the long-term metal absorption, as well as the production of gametes when conditions are good enough. Like most life at this time, trunk corals still reproduce via birdcast spawning. That will change quite soon though. While Earth plants compete for light, and this usually ends up with lots of leaves up high and much lower plant concentrations below, this is not the case for the chemosynthetic Coralliformes. Instead of light, they compete for the resources in the water, the vast clouds of oh-so-useful chemicals the hydrothermal vents constantly churn up. If anything, this makes the seafloor more crowded than the space above it. Coralliformes compete for 3D space, taking up as much area as possible for themselves, making the immediate surroundings of any vent almost impossible to traverse for anything large. A particularly small species of flailer has evolved to use this to its advantage. When small exoanimals of crawling and swimming kinds try to pry into the tangle of Coralliformes to eat them, they are captured by a new kind of bristle these death fans possess. Death fans, besides their normal nutrient-absorbing bristles, also have some which produce a slime which, upon contact with the surrounding water, thickens and becomes, although not exactly sticky, very hard to escape. And death fans are not the only Coralliformes who discovered the path to carnivory. Flowerheads, a kind of fan tree, live further out, where the ground is still more sand and branches over branches. To make up for the lack of nutrients, these Coralliformes became mixotrophs, relying not only on the dissolved substances in the water to power the reactions which give them energy, but also stealing pre-processed molecules, which usually they would have had to make themselves, from exoanimals. And they capture their exoanimal prey in a truly fascinating fashion. To understand this, we must first understand how Coralliformes are built. Like in exoanimals, the base for a Coralliforme's body is a cylinder, which grows wider and taller with time. This original cylinder constituted the first branch or trunk of the Coralliform, which subsequently splits into many different branches as the organism grows, unless it's hairgrass, in which case that one cylinder is all it has. At the center of each of these branches is a channel, which functions as a kind of vein or artery, letting cells remove or receive molecules dissolved in the seawater inside it. Depending on the kind of branch and the kind of Coralliform, this channel can range from a single cell wide to almost as thick as the branch itself, with only a thin sheet of cells separating it from the rest of the ocean. This is the case for many species of flailers and tentacle bushes, such as our flowerhead over here. Its branches, arranged radially around an opening in its main trunk, are almost entirely water, and they have convergently evolved a system similar to that which arm pipes use to contract and retract. While exoanimals have muscles made of multiple cells inside a flexible compartment, which the individual cells can stretch using their cilia, flowerheads and their sister species have taken another method to contract the delicate walls of their branches. Instead of using as many cells as would usually be required to build a branch, it is instead made of fewer, drastically elongated cells, which are supported by large strands of interlocking molecules. When the branch needs to bend to capture some unfortunate slug climbing over it, the cells on one side of the branch release half of the molecules making up their skeleton, causing them to contract. As one side is now shorter than the other, their branch bends, and the poor scooper looking for a new meal will now slowly be digested by enzymes excreted from the Coralliform's skin. And that's all for now on the early Ichthyocene Coralliformes. This is Hnrrienkast, signing off.